when it's streaming from the computer and it's broadcasting at the same time. It's like dropping frames.
Yeah. It's kind of strange, but we are back running now. So I'm going to check the old YouTube stream here and see.
Yeah,
Welcome back to
I
the
just got
stream,
the
guys. We just
notification.
restarted it.
Button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
We're coming up on a major fundraising deadline, and there aren't many more between now and the election. So I am asking you to pitch in right now to help us meet our goal. There is too much at stake, so let's not fall short on our resources. We are working hard to reach voters across the country, but I need you on board to help.
I think it may be Restream.
Fuck, man.
That's okay. They can still hear us, and we're more important than the videos.
Is it doing it on the X videos as well, do you think? Or just on the YouTube videos? That kind of limits us, doesn't it? Damn, that sucks. Okay, fuck it. We'll just carry on.
Yeah, it'd be okay. I mean, you can still understand what they're saying. It's just a little strange.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing issues right now, just know that it is apparently the only thing I can come up with is we got an issue going on with Restream, but we'll carry on anyway. Because it's late night and you guys don't care because you're probably sitting there smoking a cigar, drinking a beer, and getting ready to pass out while you're listening to us two blabber about craziness on the interwebs.
Just run the next video then. Let's try it.
Yeah.
It is time for
okay.
Maybe I got too many video tabs open. Who knows?
It's crazy. All right, I got this belt buckle.
Oh, yeah. The belt buckle.
I
saw that one in the list there. Yeah, let me scroll back up to that one. Because I really hate these types of firearms, too. The belt buckle rimfire guns.
Yeah.
Never been a fan of them. I don't know why you'd spend money on one, but okay.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I would put him.
Sounds still fucked for me, bro.
Yeah, it is, but it's coming through. There's another reason why I hate those guns. They're single action. They have no trigger guard. And to make it even worse, when you let the hammer down, you have to put it in between the rounds on the cylinder to rest in that little safety notch. Because there's no like half cock or anything really with these things, and if you let the round sit on the or the hammer sit on the cartridge, well, obviously there's a potential for it to go off, and then you're gonna shoot whoever's beside you or maybe yourself with these things. They're radically expensive for a little bitty, not so useful firearm.
Right.
I just would not carry one of these things. They're a novelty item, in my opinion. I probably just made a whole lot of rimfire guys mad. But that's what it is.
It's a novelty. It's a novelty having it on your belt buckle, and I mean, who's actually going to use it? Well, you never know. Never say never. You never know when it.
Listen, I knew a bunch of old boomer types that kept one of these in their pocket all the time. And I said, could you pick a worse... The only thing that I could think of that would be worse than this was if you had one of those life card pistols, that little single shot thing, it looks kind of like a credit card, and it opens up to a gun, it fires one rimfire round. Or if you had that really crappy gun that I think it was it Taurus? It made it the Taurus Curve. Just just an atrocious, worthless firearm. That these are about on that same grade. Please don't waste your money on these. But and these are from North American Arms. They make most of them. They're novelty guns,
Right.
and they're perfectly fine if you want to spend money on a novelty gun. But please don't carry one of these guns and be serious about anything, because these guns are how you get hurt in several ways.
That single, the life card you were just talking about, the single shot one, no one actually serious. Well, I guess they do. They do seriously think they're going to use that in a life or death situation. Just have that one shot. You pull out your credit card. I don't know how they think it's going to play out, right? Like,
I've met a few people like that. It's like, oh, you only need one if you're aiming at the right spot, buddy. And that's not how things work. Sorry. You're probably not going to hit the right spot. I mean, statistically, when it comes to a gunfight, he with the most ammo wins.
right.
And even for trained
Thinking
individuals, something like 70% of shots fired miss. I don't know if that's the exact percentage, but it's really high. It's a really high percentage of shots fired miss. So when you're limiting yourselves to some little dinky thing, it fits between two fingers and it's single action and it fires rimfire, you're just asking to lose.
Yeah.
I don't like these things, man. They're a cool little novelty gun, but I guess that's it. But they're like $200. That thing's like $200.
Right. So it's not so much of a novelty, really, because for not much more, you could own a full frame or compact.
Or
And,
subcompact,
well,
or something worth
yeah.
carrying in 9mm.
Yeah, in 9mm, yeah.
Something that's not garbage.
Uh-huh. So, well, yeah, there's that. There's the little miniature gun there. What else do we have to look at here? I'm just worried about the audio being broken, man.
Yeah, it's irritating, but I don't know how to fix it right now because we try to restart an OBS, and maybe it's. I'm really thinking
Hopefully
it's like
this
a restream
one-
problem.
A restream thing, right? This one is on X, and hopefully it's going to stream a bit better. This is something from England. Yes, good old, lovely old England. I can't really. I don't know the
taser me,
background
bro.
here. I don't know the. This isn't. This is a bit of a don't taser me. This is a bit like, what's going on here? So let's pull it up and take a look at it. It's
What's a tin of lager?
a 10 of lager.
Is that- What is that?
I don't know. I've been out of England for a long time. A 10 of lager. Are you sure you're reading it right? Where are you reading that somewhere? Oh,
Yeah, it's
the police
yeah,
are-
it's right there on the post.
right
yeah.
here. Oh, a tin. They mean can. Just a can.
They're talking about like a can of beer.
Yeah, can of beer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see some police brutality. That's all.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Well, they always feel like big men when they're the only people with any type of weapon, don't they?
What's going on there? I don't know if you can mute the audio because of the clipping.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
driving
yeah.
me crazy. But
Yeah, we can mute the audio. We'll just do that.
so why
That'll
is
solve
that?
a lot of problems.
If it's reasonable force, what's going on with the policing here? Why
That
do we
doesn't
need
look
to
like
do it like
reasonable
that?
force to me.
Why can't he detain him like a man?
Dude's on the ground.
I mean, what's going on? Why
There's
can't
three
he?
of you.
I just want to ask. You know,
What did that accomplish?
why can't they detain and cuff him? Why did they need to use that much force to detain and cuff him? It's 3-on-1. Doesn't make any sense. Why do you need to do policing like that? What's
You got the one
policy here is
homie,
they want
one
to
homie
enact.
on the right here. He's standing there doing nothing. You guys almost basically got his hands in his pockets, like, oh yeah, you guys are doing a good job.
Now, Brits, I'm an advocate for the Second Amendment. I believe that all Brits should be able to defend themselves and own firearms, but I also believe that there has to be a complete mindset shift. If this is how they're behaving with the taser, like it really to me looks like sort of a dystopian future, like in Half-Life or something, where they're sort of kicking a what would you say, a unit around, like a what do they call them, like a fucking a number in the system. They're just sort of kicking a bag of sand around. It's just like, yeah,
An NPC.
what the fuck. An NPC, yeah. I'm lost for words really at how they're treating one another there. Over, is there any threat? How is he threatening him in any way there? It looks like an old man on the floor. I understand. Like, I've been in England before where a guy pulled out a lump hammer from under his coat and started hitting someone in the supermarket for no fucking reason. And it was quite comical because you know the way they start on each other. They're like, I'm going to fucking get you, mate. I'm going to get you. Oh, fucking look at what I brought with me. And he's pulling out his fucking massive hammer in the supermarket. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he's going to stand back. Like, holy shit, you know? So if firearms were allowed out, there would be a lot of firearm incidents in the first year or first 2 years. There's no doubt about it. There would be overuse, but it would be a new dawn, a new wave, a new age where people would, you know, accept the firearm as part of their life. Maybe I'm talking too crazy because probably they're never going to want to walk through that passage. You know what I mean? Of like, okay, finally we're going to change policing. We're going to allow you to own a gun. We're going to allow you to defend against tyranny. And like, we're going to stop kicking you around and tasering you on the floor 3-on-1. But we don't know. Maybe it had a knife out moments before. I still just can't see how it, we don't know. I just want to try and be an advocate for both sides. But in my view, to be fair on this, it's like, he didn't seem to pose a threat there, so why they need to kick him while he's down? Can they not just cuff him and be done with it?
Well, he's still got the taser darts in him, you know?
Oh, right. Well,
all he's got to do, you can see the string running to it. All he's got to do is like pull the trigger and homie's going to lock up.
But of course, the cop might be lost in the moment. I remember seeing the clip, I don't have it to hand, but from a couple years ago where a guy was telling one of the cops, you know, you're off your head on testosterone, you're off your head on the gear they give you or whatever. And this guy is out with his truncheon and he's, you know, he's giving some dead legs, he's giving some broken limbs to a few lads. But we don't know the full context. I think he felt like his life was in danger. And when you're surrounded by a crowd and getting mobbed, they don't have a firearm, they don't have anything. It's an incredibly tough job to do. That's why I'm also support firearm ownership for all the police as well. I think it's a good thing. I think it levels the battleground, or levels the playing field, should we say, and tasers, yeah, I don't know if it's really that humane, or, well, maybe, well, it's less lethal. I don't know, unless you don't have a heart attack.
I can tell you this, it's a lot more pleasant than mace.
A lot more pleasant than mace, yeah.
Yeah,
mace.
Yeah, the taser's over after they let the trigger off. Mace stays with you for hours.
They do love to let that off. I've been walking. I remember walking along once eating fish and chips in England, and they let off the fucking mace, and it blew all over us. You know, it went all over the food. Oh man, we were just walking along, and this cop was like, "Fuck this! I'm had enough." Like everyone's fighting in the pub. He just let off the canister. It went all over the cop as well, but he was just like, "Fuck it, you're all going down." You know, open this cloud of CS spray, you know, and everyone gets fucking gassed.
Years ago. I was at one of the gun shops I used to work at. I let the guys there talk me into getting maced for $50, and this stuff was 15% OC. It was pretty stout, and they hit me across the forehead with it, and I kept my eyes open. They're like, "Yeah, keep your eyes open, you know, let it get the full effect." And it hit me, and I thought for the first like 10 seconds, I was like, "Oh, this isn't that bad, you know. It's about like a CS gas, and CS gas is tolerable." But after about that first 10 seconds, I was like, yeah, I messed up. This is a bad mistake. And that led
how many
to
hours?
4 hours of misery.
Fuck.
And it sucked. Yeah. It took me several hours for them to be able to pry my eyes open so that I could get air from a fan in there so I could keep my eyes open. And that was probably the part that sucked the most, because I just felt like my eyes were wrapped in 1,000 grit sandpaper. And it sucked. Nice. And it was not worth $50. I would probably do it for like $150. But $50, not worth it. In fact, I used to have that video on the YouTube channel, and
Oh,
yeah, and YouTube, I just got rid of it because YouTube age restricted that video because they said it was violent.
that's
Which-
violent. Pepper
yeah.
spraying yourself is violent, but yeah, other stuff.
Yeah, given a demonstration
okay.
of being pepper sprayed, it's not like it was a violent altercation. It was literally a demonstration of this pepper spray.
Right. That leads on to it. You mentioned it. YouTube is Mr. Beast. We got to get onto it. It's on the title of
Yeah.
the stream. We got to.
Yeah.
We gotta,
Let's
yeah.
hit Mr. Beast. Let's bring up that video.
Let me get the link. Yeah, let's pull up the video.
And I know that the audio is going to be, if you're watching the stream, the audio is
Oh,
going to be
fuck.
a
The
little
audio,
clippy.
I keep forgetting.
It's going to be
Would
a
you
little
just want to
clippy.
restart it just on X with no restream and see if it works if we go?
Let me turn on the audio
Just
on
as
this
a long
one,
shot.
and I'll check it on the X and see if it's working on there. Because we can
Alright.
check it on there.
So it'd be
turn on
hard
the
to get
audio.
the commentary on it. Yeah, maybe if you do it like that. Let me check.
And I'll check it on the X and see if it's working. Yeah, let me turn this on.
Wow.
Stream.
Wow.
Commentary on it.
Wow. Wow.
Still fucked. Bro.
Yeah, it's still clipping on there. It must be something with Restream. I just don't get it. But anyway, you can still hear the words they're saying. It's going to drive us both a little bit crazy. But let's check out the video anyway, because it's got some really interesting points in there. Maybe I just need to open a new browser window. Maybe that'd fix it.
Let's try that. I think try and fix the audio before we go.
Let's see. I'll just exit completely out of my browser, and we'll try that.
Yeah.
Bro, we have a video about Mr. Beast, and it literally played a Mr. Beast ad for it.
I was wondering what's going on here. I'm watching the stream, yeah. Oh shit.
Let's see. Let me get our audio going back here because it is not even pulling from the system now, which is interesting. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my computer. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my computer. So bear with us 1 second, guys. I'm going to do some stuff here and try and break it. I hate technology gremlins, man.
Always when going live as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's always some
it's
shit.
always got some.
Always when going live as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's always some shit.
Look at that. And now I forget to mute it on the other computer here. Let's see if it'll pull the audio this time.
Nah, bro, it's no sound now.
Strongly
Yeah,
condemn them.
yeah, there we
But then
go.
they also say, I still believe I'm not
Now.
a victim of grooming. Even though it sounds
Oh, you
like
got
they
it
might
now.
be
Okay.
questioning it a little more now.
I'm not
And,
getting any
I mean, it
audio
is
on
good
stream.
now they can admit how inappropriate that stuff was. But it's also bad luck because this person was originally trying to discredit one of the other alleged victims who was claiming all this stuff was happening on the Discord. Like, if you remember, this person came out and made a video about it, and they said, well, they're a minor, they're part of the Discord, and there's a lot of creepy shit going on.
But also frequently bring up sexual topics that was definitely not appropriate to bring up around 15, 16-year-olds, especially with him being like, I don't know, 20, 21 years old. He would even go as far as linking me several different corn and hentai videos throughout the time of me talking with him. Not only that, but he had an NSFW bot in his Discord server before he made it public. So when it was just a private server, his little circle of minors. And he would use this NSFW bot to spam different corn images, alongside all these 15-year-olds. He would also frequently call me dad and daddy, as well as the others, which I guess we all kind of just took as a joke at the time. You have to think this is someone who we looked up to at the time, we idolized, we thought was the coolest person in the world, so they couldn't really do any wrong in our eyes.
So then after this video came out, of course, Lava responded to it and tried to discredit him and make him sound crazy because he's obviously just trying to run defense for Mr. Beast and Chris. Like, I believe Mr. Beast is still in contact with him because Keemstar, when all this stuff first came out, he said that Mr. Beast connected him directly to Lava. So it's kind of hard to trust what he has to say because it definitely seems like he's being influenced by Mr. Beast. And now we know he is lying about some things here. So this was his response to the video I just played, like the other victim. He said, yes, I know him. A lot of the statements he made about me in that video are completely untrue. I was friends with him, but he's later removed from the Discord because of how unstable he was. He would lash out and verbally attack other members on the team. But maybe that was happening because of how toxic the Discord was, so bringing that up doesn't really help. And he's also clearly just saying this to make it seem like this kid is out of his mind and we shouldn't trust what he has to say. But it turns out we shouldn't trust what Lava has to say, because also at the end of this he said, we did not scrub the Discord clean of racist remarks or adult content, but it turns out that's not true. Like, there are literally messages from him saying, commence the cleansing of the Discord, search every kind of bad word in every known chat, delete every instance of it. And then somebody else said, by the way, I went and deleted every single time the N-word has been used, so that improves our chances of partnerships. A lot of it was said while in the private server. And there are a bunch of other messages that I'm going to get to that are a lot worse. But just with that alone, it proves Lava was lying. And it's just really hard to believe he misremembered things and forgot about this. So he kind of destroyed his credibility here. But also, I'm sure he's being told to say a lot of this stuff and is probably being manipulated, because also while this was all going on, it sounded like Lava understood that it was pretty inappropriate. I mean, it sounded like some of the minors in this Discord were way more mature than Chris, because they were more concerned about some of the underage fans finding that stuff. Like, here's them talking about what they should do with it. Like Chris says, I mean, to be fair, the internet is full of adult content, and somebody said, well, Discord says if you can't regulate it, then don't have it. It's the responsibility of the server owner to prevent minors from viewing it. And Chris's response is, what am I, a parent? And then Lava said, I say we get rid of it because of the fan base of Mr. Beast and Chris are mostly under 18. So he even understood how bad this was. But of course, Chris, the adult here, the one who runs the server, the one who's famous, who has a ton of influence, and all these people are a fan of, sees no problem with it and lets it continue. And again, I think most of the people in the server were underage at the time. So here's another person talking about how they just made the NSFW channel, and somebody's like, honestly, why though? And they said, because I was asked to, and they said they're asked by Chris, of course. And again, another person realizes that this is inappropriate. They said, don't you think this should be limited to people who are actually the appropriate age, because it's open to everyone, is it not? There should be a bit more restriction on it. So then there's some more messages that are really incriminating, where Chris asked if the NSFW section was locked, not because he's worried about minors, but because he realizes how weird and creepy he is. Like, first he says, is the NSFW section locked? Somebody said, yep. And he's like, all right, be right back. Gonna go flood that shit. And then at the very end, he says, I'd rather people not see how effing weird we are. And it's crazy he says we. It's like, no, dude, it's you. You're the adult here. You're the one with all the influence. It's your server. You have all the control. But he's probably trying to convince them that it's not just him, they're all part of it, and it's probably some grooming technique. Like, also them referring to each other as dad and daddy and sending hearts and stuff. It's so creepy. I mean, look at some of these messages. Lava said, you guys want to see if I can get a server shout out from Daddy Chris? He also said, when dad
it's
talks,
coming through your
heart
mic,
emoji. And then someone else said, if you get me mod, I will next time, heart emoji. Next time, text me, dad. He also said, check Snap, dad.
Hopefully we can get this fixed soon, guys. Sorry for the fuck
Could you
around.
please DM me? Thank you. Love you, dad. So that definitely seems like some groomer cultish behavior. And then there's some more messages that sound really bad, where Chris said, okay, everybody, this chat never happened. Griffin, purge it once this is done. Somebody said, of course, nothing happened here. And then he went on to say, make a chat called Server Secrets and give everyone active here right now permission to join. Then somebody said, fire up the hentai archives, kids, because Chris is really ready to fire up the lotion and get to yoinking. Yeah, so it's over for Chris. I mean, it's been over for him, but this just confirms everything. And I'm sure more messages are going to drop. But now the biggest question is, how much did Mr. Beast know about this? Like, so far, there haven't been any messages from him in the Discord. But somebody in February of 2020 said, bro, Jimmy left the server. Maybe they're talking about a different Jimmy, but it seems like Mr. Beast was part of the server. Maybe he didn't go on there much. Maybe he had no idea what was going on. But it's just hard to believe he wasn't aware of any of this. You know, Chris was his best friend, and he had that artwork on his wall that Mr. Beast was looking at in one of his videos. And I believe they were living together at the time. And also, Mr. Beast once commented on a Shadman post, or he's commenting on a comment. But he definitely knew who the guy was. He knew that Chris owned the artwork. And I'm sure he's seen some of Chris's tweets, like where he's talking about his obsession with it. So Mr. Beast had to know that Chris was pretty weird. You know, he's doing some questionable things. And people were bringing this stuff up around a year ago. Like they're talking about Chris's old tweets and how creepy they are. But Mr. Beast, I guess maybe he didn't hear about it, or maybe he heard about it and just didn't care enough and decided to keep him around. And also he defended him, like not from the tweets, but from that Sunny V video. But it's just crazy. A lot of people knew how creepy Chris was and knew he was a liability, but we're expected to believe Mr. Beast had no idea and this all just came out of nowhere. You know, of course he has to act like that because that's really the only way to address this. He said, I become aware of the serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I'm disgusted.
All right, so I know that you have a lot of things to say about this video, Paul. And there's one.
Yeah.
Let me find it. There's one scene where there's this picture hanging on the wall in the background, and you had some really good insights into that. If you'll help me find the time frame that it was in at, I want to kind of pause it right there.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me have a look here.
Oh, here it is. I got it.
Oh, you got it. Got there before me.
So obviously, this is when they were a lot younger. But let's kind of give the people an idea of the significance of this poster it's hanging on the wall.
Right. So as far as I caught the gist of it, is it's by an artist. I believe his name is Shadman. And what happened is Keemstar, the big YouTuber. I mean, I'm probably re-chewing this to anyone who's heard it already. I hope I get everything right. But Keemstar essentially already had told this guy to go fuck himself and that he's a weirdo, and that's what got it all out, because the guy had drawn pictures of his 8-year-old daughter in poses with Donald Trump. And this is something that Mr. Beast's team had, like, well, not Mr. Beast's team, this Chris guy was like a big supporter of this artist and like had bought the artwork, and the artwork that is in this screenshot here that's hung up on the wall is by this weird artist, this shaman guy, which in the end lost public favor because he had a website where he would post all of this weird ass drawings to, and he drew his own mother. So the devil got hold of him good and done some really fucked up shit. I don't know what else to say. I mean, and now Mr. Beast comes out and makes a post saying that he condemns it and he has nothing to do with Chris. So everyone is obviously looking right now for anything that incriminates Mr. Beast. And there's a lot of insiders talking, saying that Mr. Beast knew a lot about what was fucked up here, but couldn't do anything because Chris had threatened legal action, and that essentially it was in a standoff. It was in a sort of stalemate situation where, or blackmail maybe. I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but yeah, it sounds pretty strange indeed that there was potentially a situation in there where, you had
I think
Mr. Beast was aware.
Like that happen a lot more, not just for like people like Mr. Beast, but in the corporate world in general, where there's this entire protected class of individuals that are doing some really shaky and shady stuff, and stuff that is
Mhm.
either borderline inappropriate or is inappropriate, but because they're in this, I don't know how else to say it, but a protected class of people that are politically convenient. Um, they have this really huge amount of power and leverage over the employer, and they have to tolerate it out of fear of lawsuits for discrimination. And that's exactly what probably the type of lawsuit that he was talking about. The legal action he was taking is, oh well, it's discrimination if you get rid of me, even though I'm a creep.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it boiled down to, is some kind of situation like that, where it's just gone way too far. We've seen the videos we were looking through on stream the other day. You know, I've been watching the videos of Mr. Beast and this Chris guy and their interactions and the way of his transformation into this new lifestyle. It's a lifestyle which asks a lot of questions. Where's it going? What's the end result? If that's happiness for them, that he's feeling happy,
There's no
he
happiness
was.
in that.
Let's not forget. The reason I'm bringing it up as well is that Mr. Beast is hugely popular, and this Chris guy had a family. You know, he had a
Yeah.
wife, he has a
And
kid,
furthermore,
he has a son.
he's hugely popular with kids.
Yeah,
His
hugely
demographic is
huge,
kids.
and that's who was talking in the Discord, and that's who was hanging out with him, and that's what they've got in their artwork. So there seems to, and also this parental role talking about in that video there, where they were calling him daddy, and this, what's going on there? It sounds like a whole load of fuckery, whole load of just
Fire
fucking
up the
weird
hentai.
behavior. What the fuck is going on with these kids, man? Like, what? It's such a weird thing. It's so hard to connect with them. But I think it's the whole, like, living behind the screen and not getting outside enough and not living enough as a young man. I mean, what are these kids doing? You know, normally you would be building tree houses. You would be out on the berms on your mountain bike, maybe out on the trails, you know, doing stuff at this age. But they're not. They're
Making
like, they're
guns out of
sitting in their
sticks.
house. Yeah, making guns out of sticks. You know, so many things to do out in the field and having fun and playing mountain bikes or whatever, and you know, on the motocross, whatever it is you do. I think there just needs to be more of that, like getting out in nature and unplugging, touching grass, like we're always saying, and yeah, there's just too much of being cooped up in a room. But then again, with Mr. Beast, I can't really say this fairly, because those guys, this is where it gets weird. They travel all over the world. They went to loads of really, like, undiscovered places, sort of saying, like, do you know what I mean? I want to say, like, say, impoverished places they went to, where they were going to do this what do they call it? Philanthropy. Like, with donations. It's like raising the level of life for everyone. Like, the well building, their school building, you might say it was kind of like missionary work, where they would go and build a church, but it's the new age now, right? So they're coming with this YouTube money, and they're going to do better for people. And as far as I know, it did do a lot of better for tons of people, and they did lots of really good causes, like cleaning up the ocean and stuff like that, or like helping with people that are doing that and working with that. So maybe it was kind of their consciousness that they had to do a right for the wrongs. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
And we
That's
got
part of it.
like one of the things up here right now where it's Chris the meme god, and that's Chris, and he's
Mhm.
being called dad. We see one of the, I assume this is one of the mods saying "You're welcome, dad." There's a lot of creepiness here.
It's creepy
Daddy
that it's
Chris.
used so often, because the only time that was ever used when I was growing up is when someone would be joking about, like, someone getting too much of a Hank Hill and, like, getting too stern about something while we were hanging out. Say, like, okay, dad, calm down. Like, what the fuck? But no one's going to use it, like, as a term of endearment. It's like you know, it's a way of using, like, what the fuck, man? You're getting, like, a Karen on, a Darren on about this. Like, chill out. Yeah, okay, dad, like, whatever. But they don't
Right.
use it like that. They're using it, like, in a sort of
term
term
of,
of affection.
Yeah,
Like
term
a
of
weird-
endearment.
Yeah.
And this is
It's
pretty
really
damning
weird.
here,
It's
where
creepy.
they have locked down the anime, and his hentai posting starts when, and then you have Chris come in and says, "Okay, everyone, this chat never happened. Griffin, purge it once this is done."
Oh, it has that in there. Okay.
Yeah,
Right. So
Yeah, like straight up saying we're going to fire up the hentai machine on the server where all these kids are, and then we're going to purge it when it's done. That's, I don't know. That was
It's weird.
to me? That seems like it's potentially criminal.
If they know that that's minors in there, I guess so. Yeah, I guess
Well,
so.
they plainly state in some of the text there that the not safe for work channel that they have on there is accessible by anyone.
Well, that's really stupid because they should label it and restrict access to adults only. Yeah. Well, how can they do that if they're having a public server? You have to have terms and conditions, so they'd have to agree to it. I mean,
verification
sure.
of age. You have to be able to verify that.
Yeah.
I mean, you
But-
can't even go to a we'll use the word corn website now without verifying your age, at least with a little click box thing. So
That's what I mean.
what's going on here?
Like a disclaimer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what is going on there? Yeah.
A lot of weird things going on there. If your kid's in this server, you should probably be looking at it. I'm just saying. I would be.
Yeah, to other parent, and that's why I'm aware of it. That's what I'm talking about. For other parents, it's like, yeah, that's really why I came on the stream about it. It's like, Mr. Beast, my son, he watched a lot of the videos. It's always hit me as the oddity. He calls himself Beast, but I know some people it's like Beast mode and like Monster Energy. Like, okay, like extreme, like rad, bro. Like, I don't want to be like too weird about it. Like, I don't want to overthink it. That like it means more than that. But then when Andrew Tate was unloading the other day, and it kind of it makes you double think. It makes you think, what the fuck is going on here? And it does link into this thing on the Olympics, man, because like that's the zeitgeist right now. That's the mood. That's the thing. Is like we're
All this
opening
is
celebrations. It's all, I guess so, man. In a way, like it's the trend, right? It's the mood, and yeah, it's also the new generation that's coming in. Like if we're gonna be changing it up like this in such a way, what comes after this? Like a lot of people are calling it worship of Baphomet. A lot of people are, saying it's satanic. What comes after that? I don't think anything good can come of it, but what comes after that? Yeah.
Nothing good
Crazy.
is coming from it. And look at this one right here. This one's, I presume, one of the moderators. And it says, fire up the hentai archives, kids, because Chris is really to fire up the lotion and get to yoinking.
How do we know he's not totally joking, though? It sounds like the kind of stupid jokes,
It
we
does
would have
sound like
made
a
when we were
stupid
kids.
comment that you would make on Discord, and if you're a younger person, it's a stupid comment. But if you're in a position of authority on this server, then maybe you shouldn't be making jokes like that. It's
weird.
called having
I gotta
certain
say,
level of professionalism.
this whole thing is weird, and all the videos we've looked at of this Chris guy, and or this Chris girl, sorry, this Ava Chris, whatever you want to say. Yeah, I mean,
That's what I want to say.
and then
Chris.
you got Elon Musk coming out talking about his son, now daughter, that has really caused like a massive, rip through his family, and he feels that he lost his son. And then you got
And I guess
what
his son
what he is saying about that.
daughter now railed against that on Instagram after that video of him came out. I didn't get to see it, but I think that you may have read it.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's out there if you look for it. Yeah, there's even like a video. It's been all over the news as well. If you look for it, yeah. There's so much news coming so fast at the minute. It's hard to keep a track of it all, isn't it? But he was talking with Jordan Peterson, and yeah, they're quite critical of Elon in the news, and they feel he was like an absent father, and he was really too harsh on his son. Only time will tell if these things, if it really does lead to happiness. I think it's still like way too new a field, but I believe that traditional family values are the way to win. It's the way our society has always been built. I don't think it should be mixed up at all. I really don't understand it all. If they're depressed and this makes them happy, yeah, for me it's all a mystery. It's like, I really don't get why someone would want to do that. And I don't see why, if Chris already had a family, like why, yeah, he left his family and this is more happy for him. It sounds to me like he's got a problem.
Well,
Like,
let's look
yeah.
at the suicide percentage among the statistics of the suicide percentage among these types of individuals. It is
Mm.
way high, like
Mm.
way high, and it's unfathomably high. And I don't see how any psychologist or psychiatrist or doctor could say that 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 is anywhere near the realm of acceptability.
Right.
Because I think on a 10-year
Well,
scale, it's something as high as like 60%.
wow. Well, it's really sad, isn't it? It's really crazy because, like, there's so many fathers which, yeah, they could be great fathers, but they're just trying to, like, I mean, I'm sure he could have been a great dad, but he's just like, or maybe not. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure of it, but if he tried, I'm sure that it would get somewhere much better than what's going on here. Like, if he tried to raise his family and not want to. I really don't get it, man. I really, like I said, just repeat it. Like, I just don't
Chris
understand
had a
any of this.
wife and a kid, right? And like left them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To become
That's what I
a
mean.
woman.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, why? Like, I'm not sure like why anyone would do that, but he must have had his own reasons.
I guess.
With all the success,
can't wrap my mind around it.
We're talking about someone who literally was like one of the, we say, most luckiest people in the world, maybe, like being best friends with one of the biggest YouTubers. He had a family. He had obviously endless wealth that comes with that. So why is it that he made the decision to leave all that and now change his whole life around? And then we see these revelations of what he was doing. The guy is a father. He has a son or a daughter. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he has a son, right? Yeah, he has a son, and he got the son to like wear high heels. They've seen that as well. No one's even bringing that up yet. Yeah, he was doing loads of weird shit like that. The whole thing stinks, man. It needs to be fucking blown open, yeah. Yeah, we need to go over all the links of this guy, Mr. Beast. It's crazy, bro. I think the more people look into it, like they was looking into it yesterday, and there was like some stuff he was saying about the Cash Me Outside girl. You remember they had that like young celeb?
Oh, yeah.
A few years back. She's
Yeah.
this girl that went on Dr. Phil.
Became a
everyone
millionaire
knows her.
for going on Dr. Phil.
Yeah. Yeah. So like he was saying some sort of off-key jokes about her when she was underage on his stream with Leon Lush and that. But at the end of the day, they're just like private jokes. They're saying, well, not really. It's on a stream similar to this. It was on a podcast, I think. And they're just like joking around. But end of the day, yeah, he didn't really say anything that was wrong. He's a younger guy, I guess, but still, it's pretty weird. Like, it's weird topics to be kind of joking on, but they were saying, you know, everyone's being edgy back then. That was the way of YouTube. To get fans, you had to be like really edgy about everything. If that's the way the content was back then, maybe they're going to find a lot of weird shit. And maybe that's why this happened. Is that...
Yeah, maybe somebody's been
people
digging through it to find the edgy...
Like, know him.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen now. Is they're going to look all over Mr. Beast stuff and like really drag him, and it's going to really affect the brand, which is why, yeah, the advertising machine is pumping it out. We got to sell these Beast bars before the trend ends. Let's see. To me, like, there's left a lot of questions to be answered here because of these insiders saying that they knew, that Mr. Beast knew what was going on, and then there's also all this stuff with Keemstar, their friend, you know, that. Yeah, they're all YouTubers, right? It's all a whole YouTuber drama, but the topic of it is what's so crazy. And then, you know, YouTube really promotes this stuff. This stuff gets promoted. Well,
I mean, really just look at when we started to play this video. The first thing we had was an advertisement for Mr. Beast on this video that is exposing some of the things that were going on in the Discord.
Well, yeah. Well, he's doing that, isn't he? I mean, his advertising machine is doing that. They're buying that. They're buying up as much ads. Yeah. So it's what I mean by the algorithm pushing it is that like they're not restricting any of these videos which may be like questionable about, especially like the one which is showing this artwork on the wall, which is censored in the stream you were showing in Too Lazy to Try's video. But like that's still on Mr. Beast's channel, but no one's linking to it because, you know, they don't want to give light to it. But that's still up. Now, you can't show the assembly of a firearm, but you can show that. YouTube's got it all to shit. It's all fucking...
Right.
Like, how's that okay? So that's what I mean about the content policy on YouTube. It needs to be relooked. and like they need to really
The
understand that you
breastfeeding
have like
tutorials?
you have a PG rating, parental guidance rating, right? And like if your kids are allowed to see like hunting videos, then like you can enable it. I'd imagine just like we used to have on VHS or DVDs, right? So you have like universal, you have PG. What about these ratings? And then you have R rated. And restrict that part of YouTube. And the same for the feed, like with the Valkyrie clip you were showing, where it's just a booty clip. Yeah, of course, if people are horny, they want to watch that, turn it on. But if you're a parent, you don't want your kids to see it. And that's what it's meant to be with YouTube kids, is that you're not meant to see all this shit. The problem is if you go on the main YouTube and you have like a younger account, you're still going to, I don't know if the age restriction quite works. I don't know. Because it always seems to come up in the feed anyway. And Facebook's the worst for it as well. There's also Meta. Let's talk about it. You know, there's Instagram as well. The feed is fucking full of it.
Meta is absolutely the
but
worst
that's just
for
the feed.
There's nothing but thirst traps in my Reels previews if I open up Facebook, and I don't look at that crap. But that is always what they're trying to push to me is thirst traps.
Well, there's the popular videos. That's what everyone's looking at on there. The comments is fucking crazy. They're simping hard, man. And it's like the one I showed you the other day. I mean, it's basically everything's on display apart from a tiny little piece of string. And that's all over my Facebook. I mean, yeah, it's wild, man. Like, I never asked to see it. Like, it used to be that that's adult content, right? But now they're kind of blurring the lines. Are they loading us up for, you know, what they're showing us at the Olympics? I think what's coming next, you've seen what happens at the parades, at Pride in this. Is that what they're loading us up to next? Is essentially like... because Baphomet is topless, right? So is that what this is going up to? Is to have like a kind of like a transgender Baphomet symbolism entwined in our life? We're going to get to a news anchor, which is this reporting the news to us. What is that? What's going to happen? We
They used to have naked news.
Wave?
I don't know if you remember that one or not. They used to have naked news. That was like the first foray into it, and maybe that is what's next because it's just getting worse all the time, man. There's no decency or, in my opinion, what I would say self-respect. Right.
I mean, like, some people may argue the other side is that nudity is embracing the human body and ourselves in our, you know, we shouldn't have no shame or anything. But I think we need to wear clothes and like have some, kind of like, you know, modern decency to ourselves. We don't need to parade around nude, but if you need to have it, and then have it in an adult restricted area, you know, for the age of people who want to see it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of those Brave New World ideas is this rampant sexuality from a young age that they want to push. That seems to be a real thing out of, and they want to go after, you know, younger people. And because younger people are really easy to influence.
They want to remold, don't they? They want to remold and restructure. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, when I was a 16-year-old, I would have loved all that, you know, barely there videos too. I'd be like, hell yeah. But as an adult, as I've gotten older and hopefully wiser, I realize why my parents didn't want me to watching stuff like that, and I don't want my kid watching stuff like that because it's it's brain rot.
It is degeneracy and it is brain rot and it is over objectifying women. And I think it's like there's a point in our lives where we're horny young men, but like, yeah, you can lose way too much of your life, I think, to the strip club and looking at online porn and that.
100%.
Sure. Yeah.
If I had all the money back that I spent on strippers when I was in the Marine Corps, I would be quite wealthy. Because let me tell you, man, those strippers took me to the bank.
I used to think nothing of it. I used to love going to strip clubs and just, you know, dropping money. I'd say it's stimulus. I'm dropping a stimulus, you know.
Right.
That's just but that's a lifestyle. Like I'd have no regrets on doing that, man. I never counted the money. I don't care. But I'm not saying not to do it, never. But I'm saying be aware of a slippery slope. Way more slopey than those roofs that those units got in trouble on, you know, like it's a real sticky slope where, you know, your life is an arc, it's a story arc. And I know a few guys that just were like, I don't want the story to end. I just want to be in this club forever, bro. You know, it's Friday on a Monday, it's fucking party.
Yeah, that's a fairy tale.
They just never stop partying. It's a fairy tale, man, because in the end, you always see them, their posts around Christmas and around Thanksgiving and, times when you should be with your family. And they still got no offspring. And they're like 50,
And they're miserable.
And still posting from the club. Yeah. They're hanging out with dancers half their age, They are kind of miserable, but they can afford a really good cigar to go with it. And I think just sort of always look at that. Look at who else is in the club. Look at some of the older guys that are in there. It can get old pretty quick. And if you don't fill your boots enough, that's my advice to anyone. Is like, if you're going to do it right. Don't go half-assed at it. Do it right to the point where you're like completely exhausted and you're like, okay, satisfied that urge. Like, I'm through with that. I'm done with all of that. And then like, you won't have any regrets, man. Kind of like what you did naturally, bro. I think it's a good thing because you filled your boots. You got through it, you enjoyed yourself for that period of your life, and then you get through it. And all young men have got some steam to let off. Everyone needs to get in the club at some point when they're younger. It's just like long-term lifestyle. Like, I don't think, and definitely not marrying a stripper. But then what are they gonna do? Then it's just why it's such a sticky situation. And the women end up, the dancers can often end up getting like absorbed by that, and they're quite wealthy from it. So it's a real tricky one, isn't it? Like how do they lose their own self-respect to be a mother, and there's so much glamorization of that now. And now that it's like bending that to, I guess, tranny strippers is the next thing transsexual strippers. It probably already is a thing.
Oh, I'm sure it is a thing. I'm sure there's
probably
some
already a thing.
I guarantee you there's a degenerate platoon of Marines that's me like, hell yeah, I want to see that because I just don't believe it's real. Great example, and I've told you about this one before, but I'll tell it here on the public stream. When I was in the Marine Corps, there was this gentleman's club outside of the air base there called Toby's. It had a famous commercial that said, "Come to Toby's, we serve lunch and we got 13 ugly girls and one pretty one." But what really got everyone's attention was they hired this one-legged pregnant little person to be a dancer.
This story always makes me cringe now. You told this a few times.
Yeah.
This is
And
this is
pretty
cringe.
much the entirety of the air base piled in there to see this and spent a bunch of money. That place made bank off of a one-legged pregnant little person. And it was just, that's Marine sick humor though, is, it's like, this is crazy, I gotta see it. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on some of the other things that happened I can't even talk about on stream because it's just so degenerate. Some things that happened in places of ill repute in foreign countries.
all right. Well, I think that's well known, isn't it? That like shit's going on.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Again,
there
that's
was
part
no
of,
donkey shows though. I've never seen an actual donkey show.
Well, hopefully all of that fuckery brought you back to goodness. You realize that, I've seen it. I've seen the fucking worst of the worst. No, I don't ever want to.
Yeah, I don't have any desire to mess with it anymore. I like you said, I filled my boots with the insanity, and I'm over it now.
Yeah.
I just want to be a family man, and I'm fine with that.
Right.
Life's calm.
That's the way.
And happy,
Yeah.
and I'm in my not to be confused with the Zen that we all know, but I'm in my place of Zen.
Your place is Zen. You're like a Buddhist monk, like a Zen. You mean like that? Like a Zen garden.
Yep, like a Zen garden, not the nicotine pouch.
Not Zen. All right.
No. And if anybody else is out there is thinking, Zen sucks compared to Rogue. Rogue is way better. I just made half of America mad. Even Tucker Carlson's chomping on Zens, man.
Yeah. I don't know if that's just a brand deal or like, he loves them, right?
I guess I've tried them. They don't give me enough nicotine. That's why I went to Rogues, because I need something that's just gonna like punch me in the face with nicotine and make me want to vomit because there's so much of it flowing through my system.
Right. Just get you fucking jacked.
And it has done that to me a couple times.
I don't know if you ever tried them Skull. they're pretty fiery,
Skull?
man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
There's
That's
some
back
Swedish
in the day.
ones that are pretty fiery, man. Yeah,
Um,
they're pretty
probably the
good.
worst thing I ever tried to do. There's a King Bee twist tobacco,
Oh
and
yeah.
I thought I was going to be a big man, you know, because at that time I smoked like 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And I said, I'm going to get me a big old bite of this King Bee twist tobacco. I can handle that nicotine. I'm a man. It took me less than 5 minutes to be puke green and spitting that out.
Ooh.
And it messed me up, man. I had to go sit down. I was sweaty, clammy. I was like, man, I got nicotine poisoning.
Oh man, I remember giving myself that when I first started smoking.
Oh, it's
yeah,
miserable.
and you like started to puke. Yeah, nicotine is a real serious thing. Yeah, I've given that to myself a few times. Yeah.
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 Yep. Or doing dumb things like going to the tobacco barn and just grabbing some raw tobacco leaf and rolling it up in printer paper. Done that. That was a bad idea.
In printer paper.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, no
boy.
joke. Couldn't find any tobacco paper, so I just got a sheet of printer paper and we rolled up some raw tobacco leaf. Let me tell you, man, that'd give you a gut punch right there.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That must have really woke you up.
oh yeah, it sure did. Didn't ever do it again. I can tell you that. I like to live the FAFO lifestyle.
Right. And that's part
And-
of it, taking massive bits of paper, printer paper, and smoking. That's all part of it, right?
Raw
you
tobacco
definitely
leaf.
FAFO'd there. Yeah. Here you
I was
go.
like-
Here's a
I was
video
like
of someone who
12
needs
at
to
the time.
FAFO.
And I've been scrolling through the X feed while we've been sitting here, and my X feed is nothing but Smurfs. Well, a Smurf, one particular Smurf.
The Smurf.
The Smurf has
which we had at
gone
the start of the
viral.
stream there. The Olympic Smurf. The Olympic Smurf. Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. What the story is because I don't have a translation yet. Is there a
don't.
translation out on what he was
I
actually
haven't
saying?
seen one.
It's
I haven't
confirmed.
seen one yet.
You have a look at what I just sent you. The link
it's
here.
creeping me
This
out.
is
The
from.
Smurf is creepy.
This is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. This is UK in 2024, and unfortunately the sound is fucked on the stream, so maybe it's not going to play too good. But let's give it a try.
The guy who has a sign in his front garden saying, "Please don't shit," comes home from the pub to find someone shitting. Okay.
Right?
Got me with this one.
Yeah, clean it, bro. Look, it literally says, please do not shit.
Sorry?
Yeah, please do not shit, and you've just shat on our front garden, bro. Yeah, that's disgusting.
Sorry, clean.
Yeah, clean it, bro.
Is that your slash as well?
Sorry, I'll put water.
Yeah, wash it down. What the fuck?
Because I don't know what to
Wash
do.
it down.
Okay, go to a petrol garage.
I don't know
Petrol
where it
garage,
is around
anywhere.
here.
Okay, anywhere, bro. Just not on the fucking front garden. That's disgusting.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go, man. Leave.
I'll just, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Really sorry.
Yeah. You can leave me.
Look, it literally says,
This-
please do not shit.
This reminds me a lot of when I was in Ramadi. We had this place called the ECP, which was this little like power facility that never had power right at the edge of the city. And the engineers came out and they built us some toilets. And the Iraqi security forces guys were there too, and they decided they were going to use our toilets. Well, the next thing you
Right.
know, the walls, the floor, the ceiling, everything is covered in human excrement. And we had to burn the things to the
Wow.
ground. And you'd be driving around in the city, you know, doing on a patrol or whatever, and you just see some random Iraqi just hike his man dress up and start taking a crap in the middle of the road. And you're like, what are you doing?
It's cultural, bro. It's okay.
It's
You can
cultural.
just shit anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere and everywhere. Spread disease. It's fine. Nothing's going
Get
to happen.
used to it.
Get used to it.
It's normal. It's normal. It's gonna be ever in a town near you soon. Yeah, this
Coming
is
very
totally
soon.
normal. So, yeah, just get used to it, you know, because we don't need bathrooms anymore. They're so old-fashioned. You just want to shit on the floor and forget about it. Like, don't worry about it. You just, yeah.
Now I can understand in
open
places
door.
like Malta, maybe, where you go into a public restroom there and they're charging you like 50 cents per square of toilet paper.
Right, yeah, charging for the toilet paper, charging for access to the toilets. Well, but maybe that's just what they have to do, because if they don't do that, they're going to go in there and make such a fucking mess. So they got to do it, you know?
Yeah, or just
Maybe
steal
that's
all
why.
the toilet paper out there.
Yeah. So that's why that situation came about in the end, because people just can't fucking get their shit together, literally. And they got to shit all over themselves on the floor.
I get it.
Fucking crazy.
I get it. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. But I think that any place that has like a large not just any Arab country, but from the impoverished Arab countries, if you have a large population of people from there, you're going to end up with a lot of poo in the streets, because that's just how they do things.
It's always been a problem, hasn't it? The public defecation.
Yeah, man.
They've got like beaches, which is so fucking, you know, bad. But maybe they've made a turning point and made, because I think it's more of a problem on U.S. soil now. Even there's public defecation
everywhere.
all over. Everywhere.
Yeah, they
right?
talk about that in Los Angeles and San Francisco and New York. People are just defecating and pissing wherever and whenever. It doesn't really matter, and no one's really doing anything about it. So the streets are filled with raw sewage. It's like going back to before the Industrial Revolution in some cities. You might as well be dumping your chamber pot out on the street, not even looking at who's walking on the sidewalk when you're doing it. That's kind of where it's getting to in some cities.
Fucking crazy. Yeah.
And then we start wondering why we have
what the-
some weird diseases popping up. That's why.
Yeah, that's why, for sure. It's all over the place. San Francisco, Hollywood Boulevard, people crapping apparently. They're cleaning it up with the pressure washer. Yeah, everywhere, man. It's even like people getting caught shitting in people's driveways because they didn't have nowhere to go. So they thought this was okay. Like, what's going on, man? I guess they got no home. They got no access to a toilet. Like, it's a real problem, man.
And let's keep in mind that this is happening in mostly left-leaning places. All these cities ran by Democrats.
Here's a new drug apparently out.
A new drug?
In LA.
Man.
Called Trank. Well, it's not that new. The video was posted a year ago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Trank has even made it to my region now.
Wow. So a tranquilizer, I guess, something like ketamine or something like that.
Well, what they're doing is they're taking they're mixing fentanyl with a veterinary tranquilizer.
Right, like a ketamine or something, right?
And well, you can buy this stuff over the counter, you know, and what it's doing is it's more corrosive to your body than I thought the crocodile that came out of Russia was the worst thing possible.
Mm.
And no, this stuff's worse. It has, I think, it can kill you in like a year from using this, from just rotting your flesh away. And it's really vicious stuff. It showed up in our local community a little bit now, and I've seen a couple of people tripping on it. And they're just doing crazy stuff, man. They're walking around like zombies. They're flopping like fish in a ditch next to the road. And you're just like, what is this person doing? Oh, yeah, they're on that shit.
Wow. Trank. You want to play the video? You want to see?
Yeah.
You want to see what
the video? And just give you an idea, like, and it's coming from cartels a lot too now. And we actually, in our community, just had a mysterious death where they found a guy who was dead on the side of the road. He'd been murdered, and his head had been sewn into his body. Like,
What?
they had decapitated him, cut his stomach open, put his head in his stomach, and sewed him back shut.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's some evil shit.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people here still aren't aware in our area that we do have cartel operations in our area.
Wow. And this is what they're doing now. They're getting surgical.
Down, thought he was dead.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Also known as xylazine, is an animal tranquilizer,
Yeah,
even deadly
xylazine,
for
that's
people, and it's making its way across American cities.
Coming more east than it is anywhere else.
What's epidemic
Are you reading this in the chat or something?
We had
Just looked it up.
People
No, they just said it in the video.
I'm seeing people doing all kinds
sorry.
of crazy movement. Not no drugs causing that. That's just a person that got a mental problem. Can't blame that on no drugs.
I think it's a harder drug than crack.
They're calling it a zombie drug and a silent killer.
Walking around with no shirt on in the middle of winter time.
Drugs are getting crazier.
Make you go real crazy, real fast.
37 million on these streets for almost 30 years. Some people that's homeless go around, start stuff with people. Some robbing, some that panhandle, some that abuse drugs. You go to the neighborhoods, our neighborhoods, the ghettos, that's where you see stuff like that.
Good luck, man. Thank you.
That's that new shit that came out that keeps you high for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah. So that those
they're
people are
putting
doing that
drugs
weird
now.
stuff
Too
on
much
this
of it.
video that are obviously on something. I've seen a number of people in my local community doing stuff like that, and it's pretty obvious what they're on. And to make it even worse is stuff like, oh shoot, what's the Narcan? Narcan doesn't work on this stuff because it's designed to treat or to stop opiates, but xylazine's not an opiate. So if you OD on xylazine, it doesn't matter how many Narcans they give you. You know what I mean?
Mm. Fucking crazy. So what? So they just overdose on it. They're fucked. They're falling over. They're done, and they don't get back up. There's no way to like bring them out of it.
They do save people from it, but it's much easier to have a lethal overdose because the Narcan doesn't work on xylazine, and I'm sure that they'll come up with something. But it's even and because of that, it's a really big threat to first responders that are responding to these people. Because if they get exposed to it, whether it's on their clothing, on their skin, they have a bag of it, whatever, and they get hit by it, because if it's mixed with fentanyl, you know, we know how dangerous fentanyl is. They start hitting the first responders with Narcan to bring them out of it, but it's not working because the Narcan doesn't work on the xylazine. And you can get this stuff at like co-ops, you know, any place that has large animal treatments, you can buy this stuff.
What the fuck? With no restrictions. So okay. So there's a
They're
serious
starting to restrict it now because they figured it out. But you know, the cat's out of the bag, and places like China are more than happy to manufacture tons of xylazine to send to the cartels for the cartels to bring into the country and set up manufacturing here for that. So it's like everything else, man. Once you open Pandora's box, it's hard to put everything back in there again, and that's what we're facing here. And I'll say that as the area that I'm from, in particular, where I'm from is where the OxyContin epidemic started in the 90s. We were the first place that they put OxyContin out for mass distribution, and it wrecked this community.
Wow.
And this stuff is way worse than OxyContin could ever dream of being. So I can only imagine how rapidly it deteriorates entire communities that are exposed to it. Because within 5 years, my community went from one that had a business in every building, and you didn't even have to lock your doors when you went to the store, to most of the businesses being gone, and everybody's locking their doors everywhere they're going when they're out in town because some crackhead might break into your car, and the businesses are gone because instead of these people buying goods and services, they're spending everything that they can make on getting high.
It just destroys it, just rapes it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It not only takes away these people's lives, their lives, and affects their families' lives, but it affects the community as a whole, because now there's the economy goes from being around goods and services to being around just drugs, and that's it. So you end up like this area with just having some fast food chains that have a bunch of crackheads working in it, and a couple of banks and a Walmart, and that's it. Because the rest of the economy is drug use.
Wow. Nice. And there's, nothing you can really do about it. It hits rural communities, it hits urban communities, it's drugs. How can we get away from it? Have a meaning in your life. Don't take drugs, have another meaning. Try and be great with your life, not give it all to quick thrills.
Yeah, hard drugs are bad, man. Hard drugs are bad.
Yeah.
Drugs are bad and clean.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Mackey would say.
We've all taken them, we've all been around them, I'm sure, but it's again not a life path, like the strip club.
This shit here,
everyone's done.
You take his shit one time, you might not ever come back from it.
So this really isn't like taking a line of coke or something. This is like way.
No.
Wow.
No. This stuff is 1,000 times more addictive than heroin.
What? So you're taking it like, because with heroin, in the UK, they used to do it a lot. Like, not quite as bad. The movie Trainspotting, I think, glamorized it a bit, didn't it? Well, not glamorized it, but sort of showed it. But yeah, a lot of people in my town when I was growing up would be on heroin in the street, like begging for money, like begging for change. And so I remember having a knife pulled on me for like 20p for a cup of tea or something, for a cup of coffee. Oi, mate, give me some money. It's in school uniform, walking home from school. And it was a crazy time. England's definitely cleaned up a lot since then, but they were all standing around the dole line. That's how it used to be. They would get their money come in. I think things have changed a bit from then. It's not so much heroin, like you're saying. It's like other things that they're into, and they're more like in their home, maybe in their little flat they get given or whatever, and they live a life of like taking that. It's a similar thing to heroin, but it's more like like pill form or whatever, like you're saying, like the oxycodone, like the painkiller route, like another way like that with the ketamine. That was definitely a big thing in the UK. I think
maybe the best way to describe this, maybe we should bring my farmhand on the stream sometime to talk about this, because he is someone who went down that path and was one of the very few who was fortunate enough to escape out of it and bring himself out of it. And he can tell you in great detail about what it's like. And he actually described it to me another day, and the other day, and I'll save it for him to be able to describe, because the power of the words is in the way that he tells the story. And it really took me back, and I said, you know what? That is the best way that I've ever heard addiction to pharmaceutical drugs ever described. And we'll have to bring him on the show, because I think it's a powerful story that people need to hear. And it's not just a message of how bad it can be, but it's a message of redemption. And people that are in situations where they're hooked on this stuff, they need to realize that, here's someone who came back from it, and you can come back from it too. He was someone that had a hard life, and was at the bottom of the barrel, got into a lot of bad things real young, and came out of it, and has become a really great person because of that. And it's a powerful story.
It's great to hear. Yeah. And also for myself, when I was younger, I was around a lot of drugs, and it seemed to be the way life would be going. But was able to get away from that from the UK. But I got to say, for a rural perspective, it really is like, it's a lifestyle that they really get into, because like really you can make a bit of money from it. Yeah. Because there's nothing to do. so they get into drugs. It's a way to move a bit of money. It's like a subculture, isn't it? But if the drugs are getting much harder, then, well, like you're saying, like 1,000 times addictedness, like that would be another way to really destabilize the nation. Because I think drugs is it's a great example you're giving of how you can like turn a really strong community into a really weak one. Just had a memory there of a friend of mine who's a great kid growing up. Who's an A grade student, and once he got his hand into the ketamine, he used to do all kinds of really silly things. Like he locked his parents out of the house once, and he was so high inside, like he locked all the doors because he wanted to get high, and then he like basically destroyed his kitchen, destroyed his refrigerator, because he got so alarmed when they came home. He wanted to like open the doors, but he was opening the wrong doors. He was opening the kitchen cabinets. He was opening the refrigerator, and he ended up just breaking everything and then falling back to sleep. And the parents had to smash a window in order to gain access to their property again. This is the kind of like stupid situations you can get into when you start fucking around with that stuff. And he'd done it all for fun, done it all for recreation. Just take some drugs in the evening, have some fun, right? Take a bit of ketamine.
Like when I was in the military, everybody was taking testosterone.
Wow.
They couldn't abuse drugs, but when you go on deployment, man, they're eating testosterone like candy. And dudes would go straight into roid rage from it and do crazy shit. And they had to really like work hard to taper themselves off of it because they got so used to it. I'll give you a good example of that. I was sitting outside behind our hooch having a cigarette in the smoke pit, and I just hear this gorilla sound, just rah! And look over at the door going to the hooch, and a fist comes through the door. Just blows his fist all the way through the door. And he comes walking out, and he's like, "My GD DVD player broke." And then he snaps it in half and throws it down and just has a rage fit because his DVD player was filled with sand and wasn't playing his series that he was watching. Just lost his mind because he was taking like 10 times the recommended dose of testosterone every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, just straight roid rage. Now, he was a beast in the gym, though. Let me tell you, he was a monster. But he wasn't the only one. Like, most of the guys there were just taking insane amounts of testosterone every day, and they would just rage out over nothing. The slightest inconvenience. They're just so on edge from that much testosterone. So all this stuff can be abused, but this stuff is way worse. Way worse.
You'd say this is like, compare it to a testosterone that's more of like, I'd say when it was more public for that is like more in the 90s, right? Late 80s, people were juicing. There was a lot more like roid, like vanity, like bodybuilder kind of stuff. And nowadays it's more like put me to sleep. Yeah, it's more like put me on my ass now. Back then it was like get me off my ass. Get me exercising, get me to be in perfect shape. You know? Now different mindset. Put me in the couch. Put me in a hole.
Or put me on another planet. Yeah. That's what it seems like, really. Put me on another planet.
Take me away from here, right? Yeah, that's what they want. They want to be completely knocked out, I guess. Because it's so shit. Because life is so fucking boring and shit. I guess that's the way it gets. It gets so fucking boring when you got nothing to do. It's something to do. It's a time killer. It's a means to an end, Again,
what amazes me is how many people go out in public like that.
Yeah, but it's same topic as the strip club. A lot of people they go to the strip club, they drop some drugs as well, and they have a good time. Like that's the way to get away from everything. And yeah, I guess if that's their way, but like not just to the end goal of it, like what you're gonna do. End goal of it has to be something that brings a fruitful existence. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up like constantly skirting around like depression, I think, and failure in some sense because you're just like living a life of sin, man. At the end of the day,
that's what it is. That's the best way to describe it right there, and that's what this is too. It's just living a life of sin, and and you've let God go out of your life, and that's how things like this keep you entrapped. And I think it's what made the big difference for my farmhand is he had a son that gave him a wake up call. And then he found God in his life again, and that's what really pulled him out of it. Because God came in and filled that hole in him that he was filling with drugs. That's
Yeah.
a powerful thing too.
Yeah. We'll have to get him on, man. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'd love to do like just sit down and do an interview with him, even if we just do that and let him tell his
Yeah.
story. Maybe it inspire some other people to be able to kick it and realize that they can do better.
Yeah.
I've never been one that used hard drugs. I'm sure that most of us now have smoked a little weed, but I've never got into the hard drugs. Always stayed away from it because I thought, yeah, that's not really for me.
Yeah, I've done a fair share of DMT, LSD, all these things. Yeah, cocaine. I've tried it. I've dabbled, and I've dabbled enough to know that like I don't want to open that door again. But definitely, the acid is that's one that makes you really look at life, right? It makes you really like. Yeah, I mean, from a young age, it was psilocybin, magic mushrooms, you know. But as I got older, have experienced the doing a trip, doing the various forms of it, isn't there? There's 2CB, there's various forms of it, and it's and the DMT and the ayahuasca and these things. And
Yeah.
personally, to me, it's like a living nightmare, like a living dream at some points, and then other times it's like it's cool. I think it's like a reflection on looking at who you are in the mortal field, like who you are physically, and then there's like your brain and what is decoding is the sense of that and like what it means. So it can get quite deep. It's definitely going down a rabbit hole. But again, with that, in terms of like, I don't know, there's a lot of people talk about like writing down their trips and like what it all means and that. I don't think there's really a lot of sense to get out of it. What does it mean when you're drunk? Like it's a state of headlessness. Yes, it exists in nature. Your dreams are like, you have like REM sleep and that you go deep into your dreams, but like, do you really need it to live like a deep life or a good life or a good existence on Earth? I don't know. I don't think so. I think a small dose. I would recommend though, Ryan. Like I do recommend it, like a small dose, man. Like the micro dosing. I think for someone
moms are into that now. That's a big thing in America for moms is microdosing.
Yeah. Yeah. And for coders, for a long time, I know a lot of the Facebook coders were microdosers and like, I think a lot of the software is built with some kind of drug influence. Like they got the Ethereum was like meth, right? Like, and you got the guy that made that crypto. He definitely looks like a meth head. I'm pretty sure the Destiny is a meth head, man. I was watching him last night with the Jor going. The Jor was when he was doing a debate with the Crucible on Fit and Fresh, and the Jor, like every other comment in the chat. The Jor is going crazy and like apparently he's prescribed some shit which is an amphetamine, so that explains it. And he also has a lisp, so it's kind of more exaggerated because that's what they were saying back in the chat. It's like stop fucking trolling him first. He can't help it, but I know he can't help it, and I just think it's fucking crazy, man. He looked like but if he's happy, it's a quandary, man. If he's happy,
Stevie said he's on Adderall amphetamine.
Yeah, it's like an Adderall thing. Yeah. No, they were posting it in the chat. It's called like Vivercell or something. And it's like, it's when you look at the full name of it, that's the brand name, but the actual name of the compound is an amphetamine. It says amphetamine in the thing. The moderator was clarifying there. Like, he does take some stimulant, ADHD. Meth. Right. So there's that in our society as well. So there's like the pharmaceutical meth, right? Then there's everyone taking these downers. Out of all of those things, I think the psychedelics are like the least dangerous, by the way.
Yeah.
The LSD and that, like, I think it's the least dangerous. Like compared to this one's you're talking about 1,000 times of opium. Like, if it's super addictive, like, that's going to fuck you up. I don't think anyone can get, never say never. Someone probably can get addicted to tripping on mushrooms, but I don't think anyone, because you're going to trip so much, then you're going to have a bad, like, crazy trip, and then you'll be like, I don't want to touch it for a while.
You'll be like, no, I'm good.
I don't want to do it. Right?
Ate me.
Right.
Well, like, I had to get rid of one farmhand because I looked at him one day. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And he said, "That little leprechaun over there by the AC unit is pissing me off." And I was like,
"Oh boy,
what? What are you talking about?" It's like that little leprechaun over there. He's flipping me off and it's making me mad. I'm about to go over there and fight that leprechaun. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, man. You can go on home and you just don't need to come back. Because you're obviously on something. You're seeing a leprechaun. I said, so is there a pot of gold there? Because then I might be interested.
Yeah.
But,
It's on a firearms channel. People are hearing this. I mean, obviously, his access to the firearms is everyone's taking his gun away. You know, like during the time he's high.
This dude didn't have a gun.
He doesn't have a gun, so don't worry if you're hearing this. You start shooting the leprechauns, but yeah, it's a thing.
I would have probably laughed
like,
if he was over there busting cap at a fictitious leprechaun.
But
it's Stabby said Destiny is addicted to much worse things too, like gooning. I've heard about this. I've heard a little bit
about gooning. Like that's when they try to come but don't come, sort of thing, like edging, and they just do that forever. And then like,
yeah. And then you had like this whole that ties into like the gun community too, because there was this there was a meme like going around being a goon, and then people started explaining what gooning was, and that meme started to fade away very quickly. So like, maybe we don't need to be calling ourselves goons.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Because I had no idea what it was at first, kind of like this brat thing, and She's So Julia, and
I still don't know that one.
I still don't know it.
The coconut was the coconut one. Well, we had the other one with the brat. The coconut one, I think we have got that. The meaning of it is a speech she gave about coconuts, which makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah.
Stabby said like, he will watch. We'll use the word corn on his other monitor while gooning under the desk during his streams. I believe that. He said there's a bunch of leaked text from Destiny to his former lovers admitting to all kinds of degeneracy. We've seen some of that. We've seen some of that degeneracy. But I didn't know about the whole videos on the other monitor and doing things under his desk during streams. But I can totally see that.
Destiny is 37 years old. Is a 37-year-old father. Let's not forget. He's a 37-year-old father. We've seen him out and about on the beach, and he could definitely do with a bit of exercise.
A little bit of upper body.
So, yeah, a little bit of farm work maybe, or just a bit of, just like general exercise, calisthenics, something like that, just to build up his general fitness. And maybe that's why he needs to look at it, got to look at pussy to get his energy level up. He couldn't do it.
Is it, or is he watching cuckold stuff? Because he seems to be into that quite hardcore.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was the main thing he was watching. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that's how he gets his rocks off. Yeah, I mean, he has said that he's like bisexual. That he's like,
yeah, but
that's
we
what
also
he was
watched
saying
the
in those
videos
DMs.
like where his is it his wife or girlfriend, whatever she is like going off to the room with another dude. And
I think it was
on the stream with it, and you can see in his face that he knows this isn't okay, and it's really eating at his soul. But he has chosen to live this persona of this is okay. But I don't think he really thinks it's okay.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice or compromise to the fact that if he doesn't do this, he probably isn't going to get any, and he knows that. Like, he has to be a little bit quirky. And I mean, overall, the guy is probably quite wealthy from his stream and from what he does. So he could attract, like, and set up a good family for sure, right? He could be the breadwinner. Well, he has already kind of done that, right? Because what he already has is he has a kid. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know what his business plan is. He's a streamer, right? He's a debater. I saw him on the debate. He was debating the Crucible, the guy from whatever podcast about what the Jan 6th insurrection meant was what the debate was. And I feel that Destiny lost hard, and he had no idea what he was talking about. He looked like someone who's just
talk about when
out.
his wife's dancing with the black guy in the background of his stream.
We're talking we're talking. That's exactly it. Yeah, there's that, but there's more than that, Stabby. There's stuff we had on the stream before. I don't know if we can go back in the chats, Ryan, or go back up in the feed. We had leaked screenshots from chats with his ex-girlfriend where he was essentially like he was explaining his fantasies or explaining things he'd done, his turn-ons, like his turn-ons and turn-offs, and one of those was to go down on her when she just come back from being with another guy.
Yeah, he was like
was
totally
one of
into
his-
that. That was really some really strange text messages. I don't even know if we can put those on the stream. I don't know
That's
if we
what he was
should.
into, though.
That's what he was into.
So he was saying that he was like cool with eating cum, is what he was
Yeah.
saying, and that was in late
Yeah.
DMs. And I don't think it's made up. I do really
think
think
it's
that
made
those
up
were
either.
real DMs.
I think he's into it. He's got some weird kinks, man. And actually, his teenage son that just came back to his life was also very recently permanently banned from Twitch for like pretending that he was going to go and to pretending he was going to go shoot Destiny.
I saw that.
Yeah. So what does that say? Stabby said, I've seen it all. The guy who owns a site where all this stuff gets archived as a weekly live stream talking about lolcow updates.
The lolcows. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
That's
definitely
probably the
one-
best way
there's
to
one-
describe him. He's a lolcow.
We can do a whole stream about the one from Virginia as well, Chris Chan. He is a cringe fucking like lolcow of the decade. I mean, this guy, and he's from Virginia. Yeah, he's
Hey,
a
man.
real one. That Chris
Wait a
Chan.
minute,
What's
which part
up
of
with the
Virginia?
name Chris?
But yeah,
I think he's either from. We'll have to look it up for the Chris Chan story. We got to get the audio fixed on the video playback, man, so we can see some of this shit. But
yeah.
yeah,
I'll
let me
have
see
it
the
fixed
Chris
for the next
Chan.
stream, for
Do you know, I
certain.
think he actually got. He's from Lynchburg.
Okay. Lynchburg is nothing but we're going to say that that's the land of not Virginians. They're not real Virginians.
Well, he was at he was cited at post jail. He's been cited there. Let's see. I don't know where he's from originally. I think maybe Richmond. It says here. Let me see. Chris Chan wiki. Now this guy is like he's a really weird guy, and I think he is also changed his gender now. Christian Chan. Yeah.
That seems to be a pretty common
Christian-
theme.
Yeah. He's 42 years old now, and he's an autistic, mentally ill, like Pokemon lover. He has like a game he made, not a game, a character, sorry, he made, which is a cross of Sonic the Hedgehog and the Pokemon Pikachu, and he calls it Sonic Chew.
Okay. Now
And
it's getting
basically, just fast forward. So tons and tons of uploads. He had a channel, he had a YouTube, and
Stabby
everything.
said this rabbit
Just
hole
to-
gets pretty dark.
Yeah, this gets really dark. So he essentially was trolled into, I believe, sexual relations with his grandmother that he was living with or something, if I remember the story correctly, and then was arrested for it. Yeah.
Oh my
And then he's been released since then. And she was like with dementia. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure, and he's been released, and he's like trans now, and he claims that he was so mentally wrong he didn't know what he was doing. But like, there is more to this story because there were calls or there was like chats leaked that he was basically talking to people on his Discord or wherever, like saying he was going to do it, like leading up to it. Like he was egged into it by trolls, basically. Because there was a Reddit about him. I
Stabby
mean,
said it was his mom.
there used to be a Reddit.
It was his mom.
Sorry, it was his mom. It wasn't the grandmother. It was his mother. Who
I don't
had
know-
dementia, right?
I don't know what's more fucked up. If your mom or your grandmother, you know what I mean? It's wow. Okay.
Right? And now he's been released from that. And he's identifying as a lesbian, by the way.
I mean, I'm not expecting less out of somebody that would do something like that or be mentally damaged enough to think that that's okay. That's really
Yeah,
sad.
sorry. I'm on the wiki here. Yeah, so it started, he had dreams about sex with his mother. And then he also, of course, hated Donald Trump. And this was going on for a long time, from like 2017. He was a brony. He would go to BronyCon.
What the hell is
And
that?
a brony is like My Little Pony, I believe. It's something that used to be posted in the cringe sub a lot. I don't know if it's still a thing now. I don't know if they're furries exactly, or they're just like they're like a crossover area of something going on there.
It's like the
But
Questronauts from Bob's Burgers.
I'm not sure. I never watched Bob's Burgers, I got to admit, but like it's a weird thing for sure, like fucking weird. And so then he went into his goddess era, apparently.
Wait,
and,
I think I remember what you talked about with the bronies. Like, there were dudes going out and getting, like, My Little Pony tattoos and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's like it's a weird thing, bro. So then he was arrested. After affair with his mother. Yeah, totally right, Stabby. Yeah, thanks for correcting me. So, yeah, he has problems with physical health and mentally, and COVID-19 made it difficult for him, and then he had a downfall. He's being released now. Yeah, let me just read up on this or what's happened now. He's like, I didn't know all this had happened in 2023 and 2024. So he's like, apparently he's been a locale for 14 years now.
Oh man!
So he's just addicted to it. He can't get away from it.
It's
He's
his life
been
now.
spotted. Hey, Chesterfield County, VA. He's been spotted in May, and then he basically he's moved into a house now, and his incest case has been resolved. And then apparently he starts posting on an art website his Sonic drawings again. And then
I thought he might have some more interesting art.
He did do stuff, and he even did streams asking people for donations, and people did actually donate and help to him, and he did like Q&A live streams. So I don't know if maybe we can pull some of these streams out. I don't know if they're still available.
Stabby said he
That
has
must
a
have
whole
been-
series of comics on an alternate universe that he believes is real, and there's a dimensional
Yeah.
merge on the horizon.
Holy fuck, it goes deep. What? What? Holy fuck. So he thinks the shit that he's been drawing is like gonna come and manifest in the real world.
I guess
Is
we'll
that
see
it?
the
Oh,
next time
shit,
they
I
fire at
said-
CERN.
He has a delusion of being the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. That's one of his delusions.
Let's see. He has been cursing other YouTube content creators inadvertently by people having him send his handmade medallions out. Well, I certainly wouldn't accept anything from him. That'd just be no thanks. This dude's sounds like he's
So there's
completely
a-
off his rocker.
There's a lol cow. Yeah, but like, I mean, with the weirdness of how he is, isn't this just like another symptom of what happens if you spend way too much time indoors on computers?
Yes.
What was his interest? He's just like on
Nothing.
a computer all day.
The internet was his
What does he do? Yeah. And
That was it. He
Is it
lived in an
possible that-
imaginary world, and apparently he still does.
could exercise, a good diet, and being outside in nature where he was growing up in Virginia. He's in the countryside. Some people are just fucked in the head, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know how to explain
I'm
this
in the
one,
countryside here, and there's so many people that just don't go outside. They don't go touch grass. They just stay inside, and they stay on their computer or their console, and they get online life. Is it for them, man? I mean, I can go on Facebook right now, and I'll see somebody having like a domestic dispute publicly on Facebook, and they're sitting in the same room arguing with each other on Facebook, and just letting the whole world read everything. And I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of voyeurism for the weird in there too, because I know people are going to look at it if it's weird. I don't know.
I think that's the main character disorder coming through there. They think they're so important, they need to air their dirty laundry, and like everyone needs to see it.
Stabby
And
said other people who put on the medallion have had some hard fails. And, well, you know, symbols have power. And there's some symbols and things that you just shouldn't touch. I wouldn't expect you to have very good luck if you're wearing the symbol of Baphomet around all the time either, you know what I mean? That's just inviting bad things to happen. Or like I don't have. I would never allow a Ouija board in my house for reasons like that. Call me superstitious.
Shouldn't fuck around with that sort of stuff. I don't think. I don't think it's best. Like it's best well left alone, and all that
Well,
kind of stuff like divination. Like,
Yeah, and Stabby's
I
right.
don't
We
think
can't
so.
help but watch a train wreck. I do. I like to watch a train wreck in slow motion, and I think we're going to kind of like winding back to like this whole degeneracy with people on the internet and stuff. I think what's happening with Mr. Beast is going to like more stuff's going to come out. It's kind of like a slow burn, kind of like it was with Doctor Disrespect, because his thing there went on for like a week or two before the whole expose came out, and then it got real bad. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of time, but for more bad shit. If this level of bad shit is coming out about Chris and it's damaging Mr. Beast in this way, I think we're only like seeing the surface of what's happened.
Totally. I can't wait to see the truth come out and for us to all know what's going on. Because, yeah, for me, there's a few YouTubers that I think are really weird. There's that KSI, Logan Paul, Mr. Beast. I just think they're really weird. Like, I've watched them for years, and H3H3, that guy, Ethan Klein, not a huge fan, gotta say, not a huge fan. I don't think he's very funny at all. There's a lot of them. I just think it's pretty weird. Destiny is probably the all-time GOAT right now, literally, because of the meth jaw and the last debate performance. Like he's always like getting way too much attention.
Insane shit that he says, and he's totally playing into this. I mean, he's got us talking about him. You know what I mean?
He feeds off the attention. He wants as much attention as possible. And I guess he's just trying to cash out as much money as possible. I mean, it's crazy to hear that he's sitting there on stream, pants down, jerking it, while talking to people. I guess, that's what got his rocks off, like the attention.
I don't know who this Nick Rakita guy is that Stabby's talking about. I said I had a hard fall after Don the Medallion. He made international news with his Kyle Rittenhouse and Johnny Depp trial coverage. He was even featured in Netflix doc. He said now Nick can't even see his kids unsupervised. Guess don't keep a pile of coke in your house though. Yeah, keeping a pile of coke in your house is probably a bad idea. It might be a good time if you got some strippers coming over. You know what I mean? But keeping a pile of it in there is probably not too good.
Nah. I don't hold on to it.
There's some bad life decisions made with that too.
Don't do drugs at home. Do it at the club. Share it around and let it be done. And let it be done, and that's it. Enjoy your time on Earth. Enjoy your time while you're alive.
Yeah, don't go home and look like Scarface. Doing a face full of coke and then running out the back door with your M16 M203.
Scarface, hell of a movie, man.
It is a good movie.
Hell of a movie. Yeah. So this guy donned the medallion of Chris Chan and it fucked his life out. He became a cokehead. What? It was enchanted, huh? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, there is power in symbols. We see that. Look at all the people that go to like Bohemia Grove and stuff. We know the power of symbols. Look at how many children have been sacrificed to the gods, particularly some of those types that you might find at Bohemia Grove. And those symbols are evil. And they do wield power.
Sketchy stuff, man. Yeah. That's some crazy shit, the Bohemian Grove. Yeah. That's
right. I want to know more. We probably won't know more than what Alex Jones and a few other people have leaked out of there. But I would like to know more. I like the conspiracy stuff, man. So far here lately, conspiracy theorists are batting 1,000.
About
everything. Everything. They're just knocking it out of the park on everything.
Right.
Stabby said after putting on the medallion, he made some other interesting life choices, that's for sure. Went on to some swinger resort with his wife, started doing hard drugs, having drunken disastrous dreams. That's good.
Oh man!
It said at over one point he had 100,000, over 100,000 watching him live concurrently, and
what?
And he's lucky to make $100 a stream.
Oh man! I guess we gotta look into this character here. We got the username. Yeah, this is wild, man. 100,000 live stream concurrent connections. What? Concurrent viewers. That's crazy.
Yeah, this the Nick Rakita. I've never heard this person's name before, so I'm gonna when we end the stream tomorrow when I wake up, I'm gonna do some research and see what I can learn, because this is an interesting topic. We kind of got way down a rabbit hole today, man.
We are way down something with Chris Chan in this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is fucking.
Yeah.
I was about to say the same thing.
At this point, I feel like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. You're getting way in there, man. This is going way off from the Mr. Beast thing. Yeah. So, but it's all linked because the other guy, the similarities is that there are like very wrong ideas about sexual relations, gender, and then something inappropriate happens. And that's, maybe a game of the devil. It's a game of something that came in through them not being fortified enough with Christ, without them being close enough to be close enough to the light, you know. And you're saying, symbols hold, maybe. But I like to think that anyone can be born again, really, well, to some degree. Can Chris be born again? Can he come back from this? He can. He's always going to live with the fact that of what he's done was very, very wrong. He's done his punishment for that, I guess. In some way, he was incarcerated for it. He's been released now. But I don't know if Chris is if you can save the guy.
Yeah.
He's just
the
low
question would be, is there reform or is he still a lockout? And I would say he's probably still a lockout. Stabby said, I want to say Nick pulled in probably like $150K in super chats after taxes from just his coverage of the Johnny Depp trial. Wow.
Made bank, right? All from his coverage of that, or was it from his lucky charm of the medallion from Chris Chan?
I don't think the medallion was helping him out too much.
Fuck.
He said he made enough money off the Depp trial stream to buy a brand new Mustang from the super chats alone.
Jeez.
Wow. That's impressive.
Crazy.
And you know what? You get that many people into a chat, and the only way that you're going to be seen by the person that you want to talk to on there is to buy one. And they know that. I think that's why they let the chat run wild and so fast you can't even read it. So that they know you're going to spend that money.
Those chats are crazy, when the chat's running so fast you can't even. That's my thing with live streaming. Like when I watch someone stream, is chat maybe need to be slowed down or something. I can't read it.
Can't keep up with none of it. It's just blowing through.
Give me an epileptic fit or something, you know. Yeah.
But listen, man,
we're
knocking at 2 a.m. and we've been going for we pulled off a power stream. We did another like almost 3-hour stream. He said he's covered a lot of the big things. He did the Rittenhouse trial too. So I'm going to learn more about Nick Rakita, and maybe we'll have some information to divulge in that in the next stream. But it's been a fun and interesting Friday night power stream. And if you're watching earlier and you saw the clip and audio, sorry for that. It's me doing something's going wrong here. I'm gonna have to solve some issues, but we just powered on through anyway. But we will have it fixed next time, so that we won't have those issues.
Sure.
Move to another machine if we have to, because we got a few to choose from here. Stabby said he used to read out all the super chats during Rittenhouse. He had to limit to reading only the $20 and above super chats. Wow. You imagine paying like $10 for a super chat and then not even getting read because you didn't pay enough money? I'd be mad.
I'd be pissed.
I wonder how many chargebacks there were on credit cards from that. I bet it was a lot.
Oh yeah, there's always the chargebacks. Yeah,
well, that's a big thing now too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great stream.
Yeah, great stream. If any of you guys watching or listening have any questions or anything when it comes to the Second Amendment community and the firearms community in general, even though we've dived down the conspiracy rabbit hole in this one, you can send us an email to support@guncoyote.com. And don't forget to follow us on X for our upcoming giveaway. And we are sure you guys are going to be excited about that. And that is coming very, very soon. We've talked about it for a couple of days. It is coming soon. So make sure you head over to X and give us a follow. Stabby says StreamYard has been having some audio clipping issues. Maybe that's it, man. Maybe that's what it is, because we're using Restream. And they've been having some issues. He said he did an 8-hour stream just to catch up on reading super chats. Wow. He made a ridiculous amount of money between those two trials. I bet he did. I bet he made an insane amount of money. And
that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. He can make a bunch of money, and all we're asking you to do is send us an email for a question. It doesn't cost you anything but about 2 minutes of your time. We'll throw that in there. We're cheap.
Right.
But thanks for watching, guys. Paul, you have anything to add to the end there?
I just want to thank you for listening. Thanks for coming along, and thanks for sharing the stuff about Chris Chan and this, because it's a rabbit hole that is, it's always worth looking into these crazy things on the stream. And it's always time for hearing a story about something else, even equally or more fucked up. But yeah, until next time, we'll bring you back with more firearm news, more 2A news, and more fucked up news as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Next time,
we'll see how everything ties together. And thank you for coming back to watch us again, Stabby. We appreciate your support. And anybody else that's out there watching, even if you're not making any comments in the chat, we still appreciate you watching the stream and coming to enjoy and spend your time with us. We know you could be doing other things, but you chose to spend it with us, and that's what really matters. And just remember this weekend, go spend time with your family, have some fun with your kids. Go touch grass. And with that,
go touch grass.
Go touch grass and have a good night.